I've said this so many times, and I'm going to say it as often as you need to hear it. One of my favorite quotes by Rachel Hollis: you can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle, and other people's opinion of you is none of your business. So I feel like the sooner we can embrace those things, the happier we're going to be. Good morning and welcome to In the Know with KO. I'm your host, Kristen Adams, also known as KO. Grab a cup of whatever makes you happy because we're going to sit down and chat. Today's episode is going to be me flying solo and sharing some of my nuggets of information in response to the requests that you guys have produced. Continue to send me comments or DMs about things that you want to be in the know about. That's so super helpful because then I can elaborate and go down that path and hopefully respond to exactly what you want to hear. So before I get into today's episode topic, I just want to give a shout out to my husband. I am going to step aside of the mic real quick and show you this adorable little penny that has a heart cutout on it. It was an anniversary gift that he gave to me, and it's on a simple little silver chain. It's nothing fancy, and it's so funny because out of all of the beautiful pieces he's given to me, things like this are totally my favorite because when I put it on, I remember when he gave it to me. I remember why, and honestly, I just love that it's kind of like it's a one of a kind. You know, nobody else has one. I don't ever see anybody else walking around with a cutout penny. So, anyways, and on my way here, you know, we're in such a race in life, and I don't know about you, but if I have GPS on, which I often do, not because I don't know where I'm going, but because my car will give me updates about traffic and construction, right? So maybe I can navigate around. I like to beat the time on my GPS. Like it's like a personal goal. Like if it tells me I'm going to make it in 18 minutes, I got to make it in 17 or 16. I don't know if anybody else has that struggle, but that's me. So today, I have some notes because I wanted to be specific in response to a listener. And it's the title of today's episode is very basic, but it can go down 10 different topics that I'm going to kind of break into. The power of positivity. Now, to me, it's a discussion, you know, that we can have. And I hope that this doesn't seem too one-sided because I'm by myself. But being in the know with the power of positivity it's not just healthy living, it's choosing happiness, okay? So a couple days ago, perfect example. I woke up feeling like exhausted. I felt like I didn't get any sleep. I woke up with a heavy heart, and I had a choice to make. I had a very strong choice to make in that moment. How am I going to handle this? What am I going to do? So I made a cup of coffee, and I got the kids out the door, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to make myself a nice healthy breakfast, you know, fuel my body. So made some breakfast. I had a tennis match that day. So I got there early. So I had extra time to get myself, you know, get the head in the game, right? And stretch and warm up and get myself ready. Got beat in my match, but had a really great time. The weather was beautiful. I was in the sun. You know, it's like great way to kick off a nice early morning adventure, right? Doing something for myself and something that I love and exercise out in the sunshine, fueling my soul. I go home, shower, washed and dried my hair, which anybody who has long, thick hair can empathize. That's a huge commitment in itself. And then I pick the kids up from school, take them to the grocery store, let them pick out some healthy snacks, stuff for lunch, stuff for dinner, go home, make dinner, and finish getting my Christmas cards out, which was a nice stack of Christmas cards. Feed the dogs, walk the dogs, clean up the house, and get everything ready for the next day. And then I sat down before I went to bed and I thought, you know, this day could have looked a lot different. That, my friends, power of positivity. So there's actually a science behind positivity. Now, doing good things for yourself or doing something good for someone else literally will launch your sadness or unhappiness right into something positive. It is physically impossible to do something nice for yourself or someone else and still not feel good. Like, I don't know, it's like an internal reverse engineering kind of a situation. And a positive mindset can not only affect your mental health and your emotional health, but it does get a hold of your physical health. You know, if you've got maybe a little bit of a headache and you're not in the right frame of mind, it's only going to get worse. If you have, if you pulled your back or maybe you twisted your ankle, I promise you, it's going to be magnified if you're not in the right frame of mind and you're not choosing positivity. Okay? There is actually research connecting optimism and longevity. And I don't know about you, but I would like to reach longevity. And the majority of the things that we don't feel optimistic about, we usually have minimal control over, right? I mean, worry and fear. Those are things that we internalize that more often than not, we literally can't even control. So let it go, just move on. And having a daily practice of positivity is something that I found works for me. Listen, these are my opinions. I am not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. This is almost for entertainment value, if you think about it, because these are just my opinions that I'm sharing. You can choose to pick up some of my ideas, share some of your own. And so for me, I like journaling. I'm not as diligent about it as I would like to be, but I will tell you, it's so great to download your thoughts. There's something, I was just having a talk with my 9-year-old this morning. There's something very powerful about putting a pen to a piece of paper in a digital world where everything is in the cloud, wherever that is, and we're always moving so fast. When you slow down and you put a pen to a piece of paper, it's a lot more intentional. And actually, if I have something I want to send to somebody, I'm probably going to handwrite it. It's also why I still keep a paper calendar, because it helps me. This is how my brain works. Maybe yours works differently, but people ask me how mine works. I'm here to share that information. So mindfulness is something that I like to manage, right? It helps me to not just see all the things that I'm unhappy about or that I'm not accomplishing, but instead things that I'm grateful for and kind of checking off the list of all the things that I did get done, like I shared in the beginning of the show. I could have said, I feel like such garbage today. I'm so tired and blah, 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 going down that negative route. Instead, I decided I'm going to attack all these things in my day. And if nothing else, I got up, I brushed my teeth, and I accomplished all of those things. Maybe I didn't make my bed. Maybe I didn't get the laundry done. Maybe there are some things that I didn't get done. But look at all the stuff I did do, right? It's easy to beat ourselves up and not see what we are actually accomplishing, because for some reason, we lean in on the stuff that we're not doing, and it's easier to kind of, sit and unpack there. And it's also a good idea when you journal, because you're giving yourself affirmations, whether you realize it or not. You're giving yourself the power to pat yourself on the back a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with that. And it also gives you the opportunity to reframe negative thoughts. I very easily could have said the other day, I was tired, I was having a bad day. Instead, I reframed that into, yeah, I'm tired, but I pushed through. So it actually empowered me to have an even better day and an even better outlook, which was great because it also helped me reframe how I was going to respond to people, right? How am I going to respond to my family and my friends and people in business or people I interact with at school, So the daily practice of positivity isn't just journaling. There's personal transformation by adopting positive habits. Let me say that again. There's personal transformation in adopting positive habits. And it's something that you have to practice on a regular basis. And it can be one simple, tiny little thing, maybe like journaling or sitting outside and having a cup of coffee or tea or glass of water, whatever it is that you like. And give yourself that. You know what? I like to treat myself. There's a local shop in my community that has healthy food and they do amazing healthy smoothies. I don't feel guilty about this. I actually feel really good about it. Not only is it making me feel good, but I know what it's doing for my body. It's feeding my body, but it's feeding my brain, which is feeding my emotional health. So that goes right into healthy living and lifestyle. If you are living on processed foods and refined sugars and, all of the things that we know are not good for us, like fried stuff, if you're living off of that, I'm not talking about the occasional treat, I'm talking about a lifestyle. If you're not moving your body on a regular basis, and I'm not talking about going to the gym. I hate the gym. I literally dread the gym. I don't go to the gym. I've had multiple gym memberships and it turned out to be a great social experience because it forced me to put on an outfit and get out the door, but I made every excuse in the world to not go and waste a ton of money. So For me, I enjoy tennis, I enjoy pickleball, taking power walks, or, maybe just doing a basic yoga or some kind of stretching right at home. Now, there is a holistic approach to nutrition, exercise, sleep, and even stress management. Now, I'm here to tell you, they are intertwined. They all go hand in hand. If you accomplish one of them, you are more likely to accomplish all the rest. You take one of those out of the equation, you're compromising all the other stuff. For example, what's the point of having a healthy smoothie or maybe, eating a non-inflammatory diet or avoiding certain things if I'm never going to exercise or if I'm only going to get 4 hours of sleep, because I'm busy watching Netflix or I'm, watching TikTok videos. That's not giving my body what it deserves to recharge and refuel. So I'd like to kind of debunk some of the myths about fad diets and extreme fitness routines. And I'm not downplaying any of that because I think all of them could be great. However, most of them are temporary, okay? You can be a power lifter. You can be on one of these, keto diets or whatever. I don't know people that make it a complete lifestyle. It's typically a temporary time to accomplish a temporary result. I guarantee you, people who are that aware of their health and fitness still have long-term lifestyle goals. And those are things that they're probably wrapping into that, I would imagine. So there's definitely some simple swaps for healthier lifestyle. And you can create a list of your own practical tips for healthier meals, mindful movement, okay? That means stretching, exercise, and toxin-free living. Everything that we eat and drink, obviously, we're digesting and it's processing through our organs. And our organs are either working in overdrive or they're working really efficiently like a well-oiled machine. And if you're not operating on all 4 cylinders in your body is going to tell you. We are 100%, as humans, symptomatic. And if you're not healthy, your body's going to tell you. And inflammation is a response to something not functioning properly. Doesn't mean you need medication. Sometimes it means you just need to get rid of something that isn't serving you. And toxin-free living is not just food and drinks. It's what kind of detergent are you putting in your laundry? And what kind of cleaning products are you using? And if you're putting something on your skin, whether it's lotion, cologne, makeup, any kind of products, I would start reading some labels, not just for food and drinks. Anything that goes on your body, it's going to leach into your skin and it is going to get right into your bloodstream. And guess what? It's still going through your organs and it's still affecting your body from the top all the way down. So now, choosing happiness and ignoring judgment, super hard to do because we are surrounded by a comparison society, whether it's directly with people that you're interacting with or on social media. Guilty as charged. Guilty as charged. We see people going on vacation and we immediately, I say, oh my gosh, I can't believe they went to Europe. I've never been to Europe. How do they have the time? How did they find the money? How did they get their kids? I can't even get my kids through Publix, but these people are literally going on a flight for 8 hours to another country. I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I going wrong? And, we have the opportunity to redefine our happiness by not worrying about what other people think of us. I've said this so many times, and I'm going to say it as often as you need to hear it. One of my favorite quotes by Rachel Hollis. You can't compare your beginning to someone else's middle, and other people's opinion of you is none of your business. So I feel like the sooner we can embrace those things, the happier we're going to be, because it makes you automatically just a little bit more carefree, which is healthy, and that's mindful, right? That's a mindful decision, choosing to be more carefree. Doesn't mean you don't care. It just means you're more carefree. You're free of the negativity. You're free of the judgment and the criticism and the comparison game. So the benefits of being intentional and finding joy every day, it can be one little thing. Maybe you just decided to recognize that the weather is beautiful or you have the cutest dogs in the whole wide world. I love my dogs, by the way. I got to figure out how to get them on the show. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know. Christian, can we bring dogs on this show?
You could try.
Okay, I promise my dogs are housebroken. We just had a very funny story about somebody who was walking their dogs, and I don't even want to talk about it because it's so disgusting. But let me just tell you, if you're a dog owner and you are listening to the show, I'm going to go on a tangent really quick. Use a bag or a scooper to pick up your dog's business. And that's where I'm going to leave that. Use your imagination. So, okay, going back into this healthy mindset, you can't break free from external validation unless you stop worrying about what other people think and living authentically. You know, a good friend of mine calls Facebook fake book. And honestly, she's not too far off base because people are using filters. They're sharing only what they want people to know about. They're airing their dirty laundry. They're talking about other people. You know, I just don't feel like it's very fulfilling anymore. It used to just be, hey, guess what I'm doing today? And now it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm constantly badgered by it. And I often unfollow certain people, whether they're local people that I know or celebrities, just because I feel like they're just not serving me a purpose or feeding my soul in a positive way. And for me, self-compassion is building resilience to judgment and criticism. I'm going to say that one again as well. Self-compassion in building resilience to judgment and criticism. I love offering compassion to other people because what I have found in my 40s is we don't really know other people's story. I mean, sometimes we do, and we can genuinely offer compassion for those exact reasons. But, you know, if you go to a restaurant, this is a really good example. If you go to a restaurant or a store and the person who's taking care of you doesn't give you good service, please, listeners, please be in the know with KO on this one. Please don't give them a bad review. Don't ask to see the manager. Don't overlook giving them a tip. Actually, do the opposite because chances are they probably have something really crappy going on in their life, and you're fortunate enough to be there shopping, eating, drinking, whatever it is that you're doing. So just appreciate that, okay? This is where reframing your mindset and offering compassion will completely change the situation because not only are you potentially helping that person maybe have a better day, better job, whatever, you're also not stressing yourself out. You're not getting yourself all worked up, increasing your blood pressure and maybe giving yourself a headache and a stomach ache. And again, see how these things are all intertwined? It all weaves together. And so this is how I like to create a happiness toolkit. Okay, it sounds super cheesy, like from a Hallmark movie, and there's nothing wrong with Hallmark movies. Shout out to the Hallmark movie lovers. My sister-in-law, whoop, whoop, love you, Tammy. You are the Hallmark movie guru. But tips for building a personal arsenal of tools like hobbies, a support system, boundaries. These are all things to nurture happiness. If you can't nurture your own happiness, how do you ever expect to do this for anybody else? Whether you're in a relationship, whether you're a parent, or you're just a friend, or you have a job and you've got coworkers to deal with, literally every single aspect of your life, we have a choice. You can choose to be a jerk, which I've done for many years of my life, quite successfully actually, but I don't really want that legacy. I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, have you ever worked for her? Now, okay, anybody that's worked for me, and I know there's actually a good amount of you listening because you've reached out and I love that you're paying attention. I'm not going to call you out by name, but I love that your careers have taken off because I was firm and helped you stay focused with your eye on the prize. Okay, there's a way of being tough without being a jerk. Okay, I had to overcome being a jerk really quickly, but realized that I could still be strong, I could still be firm. But that's where I had to put those tools in my toolbox. It didn't necessarily happen overnight. I had to realize how people were responding to me, and I had to change my directive to make sure that the response that they had was a better one for them and for me. So creating boundaries is also something that I don't think that many people do very well because they have fear that it's going to potentially cause a confrontation. And I don't really know anybody that likes confrontation, except for me, maybe. I'm not afraid of it. I don't like confrontation, okay? Let me just clarify. I'm just not afraid of it. I'm not afraid to reach out to someone and ask them, hey, did I upset you? I feel like we're just not on the same page. Or, are you okay? You seem a little off. Asking people questions will 9 times out of 10 clarify a situation and bring you both to a level of understanding so you can then offer the compassion that they probably deserve that will also keep you from a negative framing of that whole situation. So your journey to happiness is your own, okay? And you can share stories. I can share stories. I can even bring in other guests and you can be a listener of their stories. But unless you've embraced your own unique path to happiness, despite societal expectations, it's always going to be your own. It's going to be your own journey because we can't play the comparing game. My whole goal of bringing you in the know about the power of positivity today is simply to give you some insight on what works for me. You could be sitting there feverishly writing down all of the things that I said. You can record this. You can listen to it 10 times. But unless you put in the work in your own life and make your own habits and fill your own toolbox, it's just not going to work. And you have to realize the connection, like I said, between health, both mental and emotional, and physical, and how they all intertwine with one another. So by putting all of these actionable pieces of advice on health and happiness into play, you will not only feel inspired, chances are you're going to inspire others. And I want to hear about that. So I really hope you enjoyed the insight that I offered today, because we're only going to be able to be on this earth for however many years we're here, right? Do you want to spend it in worry and fear and negativity and aggravation and potentially losing those great relationships or encounters? Or do you want to create more, building a legacy, making memories, and not having fake things for social media to share, having great things instead, inspirational stories, happy moments, asking for help, whatever it is, fill your cup. Thank you for being in the know with KO. And don't forget, please share this podcast with anyone you think will enjoy it. I would love for you to offer 5 stars or maybe even write a review like some of our listeners have. Thank you so much and have a great day.